Climate change, gratitude. Wildfires, gratitude. Sea levels rising, gratitude. The level of gratitude that I feel about my commitment in life and the experts that I have chosen to surround myself with knows no limits right now. The earth researchers and the earth scientists that I get to learn from, that feed me the most fundamental of the latest of facts around our earth, saves me. Because I think I would lose myself would I not stand grounded in facts today. In some of the most urgent and turbulent social ecological times in modern history, facts is what will save us. And if it is so that you feel some sort of hopelessness, some sort of anxiety or paralysis, I invite you, there is another way. Get informed, get active, and get grateful. So, my commitment rests in planet positivity. On a day-to-day basis, we collect the data of our planet and put it to good use in how and why people and companies make money. It's a fantastic and urgent time to start transforming. In a nutshell, planet positivity means do things that solves real, factual, social, ecological problems and do it in a regenerative way, leaving your surrounding better and stronger than you found it. That is fundamentally how our Earth system works, and that is now how we're going to relearn and rebuild the structures that drive our society forward. To take on such a transformational journey, we need to create new language. We need a strong systemic language for change. Because what informs me is not my own language, it's the language of my culture. How I move and shake in front of you today is informed by my cultural allowance. And what forms our cultures and our cultural allowance is the language that we build it with, brick by brick by brick. And to have a chance to take this on, to expand our vision of belief and then action, we need to start building a new language. And that's what I'm going to try to guide us through today. We'll start in the first of the 3 steps, language of critique. My first level is on a very systemic level, and it's a simple one. The economic system of today has 2 main service providers. It's the living world and the operational agents of humans inside of them. We stand fully in service of economic growth, and it's not going to hold much longer. Return on investment as the metric for success is about to become a risk of implosion. We are very shortly out of time and we're done. We need to fundamentally build an economic system that stands in service of the living world and the humans who populate it. The second level of critique is those upholding, the primary upholders of the economic system of today. Big corporations. And my critique here is predominantly the active choice of not knowing how to go about deep sustainability development in large-scale corporations. Larry Flint of BlackRock, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Carl-Johan Persson of H&M. All upholders of a cloudy idea around sustainable development in large-scale corporations that holds us back. Because the truth of the matter is that we know. We listen to Thomas. I listen to Earth researchers all the time that know. We have so many great examples of corporations, startups around the world that knows. So this shenanigans about not knowing must be gone. Because the truth of the matter is this. No matter how much you feel ashamed around flying or choosing to eat veggie mince in your bolognese, H&M represent a trio of companies that represent more emissions than the rest of Sweden combined. Just 100 companies represent 71% of global emissions. BlackRock is the biggest asset management in the world, the biggest institutional investor. It's our pension or retirement money. It's also the single biggest investor in the deforestation of the Amazon. These are pivotal forces, and these are our leverage points. But there is hope. We just need to know what form of hope. This is my second tier of language. At Planeton, we spend our time scraping the world for the informed hope and making maps of opportunity, teaching companies, institutions, governments, other forms of initiatives of how to do things differently. From how we build our roads to our hospitals, our financial startups, to our bigger investment plans. And Lisa Dyson is informed hope embodied in my book. She, together with her crew at Kiverdi, found a NASA technology created sometime in the 60s and the 70s, in which they create protein in sterile environments, in space capsules, to create something that the astronauts could feed off during long time travel. They brought this down to Earth. They recycled carbon dioxide, put it through a process called microbial agriculture, microbes rule, and out comes high protein oils and flours. So the future that we're seeing now is eating bread, baking bread, using recycled carbon dioxide. And this is the key. Right now, today, the truth of the matter is that what we know about our Earth, scientific evidence about our Earth, is poorly translated to us through media. The dystopic view of our future doesn't entail the full picture. So I invite you to do what Lisa does, or what we do, which is to get deeply informed and understand what is actually being said about our Earth. Because within it, we see a lot of opportunity to do things very, very differently and feel like an agent for the future, not a victim of it. So take this home, get informed, understand what problems you can get active together around and start solving. Because if we want to be clear about translating Earth science down to business, this is 4 very simple, clear spaces that we can operate within. If we work with these 4 spaces when we build business, we're with our mother, not against her. This is informed hope backed by science. And this is probably not so easy to see what it is. But based on what's going on in the world, we decided to go as deep as we can today in understanding the ecosystems of change now arising. We applied graph theory and graph algorithms on it and dove in through earth science to understand the core issues of our time, the core social ecological issues of our time, and then we started mapping the world of change around them. So in the middle, we see a bigger core problem known as climate change, one of many, but not the only. And around it, we see the actors, the startups, the slightly more mature startups, the industrial giants that are doing things differently, that are solving it. We see the technologies they use. We see the new domains that arise, future markets to invest in, to connect to buy into, to build new supply chains. We also see the social issues of our time, because every single issue of our world is interconnected. It's social ecological. There's no isolation between the social world and ecological world. And the relationship is key to understand how it impacts us on a daily basis. Double-clicking in this graph, something like this arises. One of our biggest issues is that we release greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. One of the most potent ones are methane. Methane emissions comes predominantly from landfills and industrial meat, agriculture, and wherever we produce our poor meat. In that cycle and just released into the atmosphere, it's a core issue to global warming that then is one of the core issues to climate change. But as we have healthy cycles on our planet, the carbon cycle, for instance, that we're disrupting, we can also do the same thing with methane, because used in the right place is nutrition. And so much of the issues we have today is nutrition in the wrong place. It's a core principle for innovation when we address how we build business from solving ecological problems or social ecological problems. Nutrition in the wrong place. New Light Technologies from California tapped into this understanding. They're now actually scaled at a very, very successful rate. They capture methane and air, put it through a bioreactor, microbes again, and out comes, with some processing, polymer, a bioplastic. That bioplastic is about to revolutionize how the heck we make plastics. It's out-competing fossil fuel-based plastics by a landslide. And what's interesting when this happens is that old industry can start acting like new industry. IKEA jumped on the bandwagon, started innovating. By end 2020, they're going to start exchanging their whole fossil-based furniture lines, plastic furniture lines, and instead base it on methane. They've actually even started license building New Light factories to speed up the process to pivot society. And if you bear with me, dream, consider for a moment that what you're wearing, that shirt, that suit jacket, that blouse, was woven by this little fiber. Then you're with me on the fact that this is from AIR, the research and development program I was part of creating 4 years ago, that has produced the first ever methane-based textile fiber. We have a long way to go, but the road is clear. And within a few years' time, you will be wearing the change. Did you know that you can code mushroom? Ecovative cracked that code. The root system of fungi, mycelium, is now being coded as the core basis of the future of building materials. Right here, right now. Not tomorrow, now. This whole system of actors pushes on the old system. It nudges it, it outcompetes it, it puts pressure on it from different directions. The David versus Goliath. And it's based on different types of actors that collectively become this new ecosystem of change. We have the social entrepreneurs that often inputs to new innovation that other peoples can get disrupted by or contribute to scaling. Think about Lisa at Kiverdi. You have institutional entrepreneurs, those who work in government, UN, policy, pushes laws and other forms of boundaries that opens up pathways to the rest of us so that we can go ahead and keep on building. And then we have the moral entrepreneurs, maybe the most interesting of groups, and we've heard quite a few here today that I define as moral entrepreneurs. Those who completely shifts our belief systems, that opens up pathways for new beliefs that leads to new actions. Just think about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. how he and many others paved the way for 50 years later, seeing Barack Obama as president and Beyoncé, the greatest artist of all time in the United States or the world. This brings a whole new perspective on the continued chatter about scale in the startup world. Scaling deep, informing us of new cultures and new belief systems. One of the most important forms of scaling. This is why I love being an entrepreneur. Because you can go around and tell people about new things, and you open up a pathway, and all of a sudden we have a new opportunity together. It demands a lot of work, of course, but there is a pathway, a language of opportunity. Think about what we just spoke about as puzzle pieces, falling into place and a new world arising on the table in front of us. Those pieces know their role, but might not yet see the new world. This is systems entrepreneurship. And when I speak about entrepreneurship, I actually fundamentally just speak about agency. It's your place to act. It's your space to understand who to connect with and how to inform the system that there's a new system coming. It is the diverse, beautiful mess of something new becoming. Because diversity is all that we ever need to solve these problems. This is my form, this is my translation of how I go to work producing something. Firstly, I'm grounded in the fact that I'm in service of the world. That's my default. Secondly, I go to earth science to find a deep problem to solve. Thirdly, I find the greatest people that are completely not like me so that we can create a valuable solution. Collectively, we make money. And then we invest them in those who think different and greater than us so that the ecosystem can keep on growing. It's time. When we reconnect in 10 years' time in this very place, when those pictures of big corporation heads is Lisa from Kiverdi and Mark from New Light and you, they're about to stand in service of this crew. And yeah, it's a cliche. But it's a cliche because it's the absolute truth. It's the fundamental of why we exist. In Sweden, the word for business is näringsliv. Näringsliv. To nurture life. The evidence is in the language. And it is high time that we transform. And we do it by using a new frame for language so to open up new pathways for belief and opportunity. We do it by finding our role and getting clear about who I am in the systemic entrepreneurship or agency that is creating it. And we are succeeding by being planet positive. Thank you.